It's Aleya Antoine. You're listening to Tease podcast.
Everyone loves the tease. Stop.
But don't get too excited.
I'm sorry, but any man who tells a girl get some sunlight in their house, no, you're not a friend. You're not a friend. You're an enemy. Like, he basically declared war. Like, ever since he said that a couple months ago, like, every time I would see him, I would just daggers in my eyes, you know? Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tease Podcast. Oh, how I've missed you guys. Happy Tuesday, bitches. This is a very exciting episode because you probably can't tell because the setup is the exact same, but we are officially in a new city. We have finally moved to Las Vegas, and honestly, I thought that I would be able to do an episode for last week, but moving was so much harder and so much more effort and just so much more mentally and physically exhausting than I anticipated. And in my defense, honestly, I think I was delusional. I don't know why I thought, okay, we can just pack up our shit, move, and I'll be able to have an episode out right after that. I don't know. I think that, like I said, I just blocked out how hard moving actually is. And boy, let me tell you, moving is a bitch. But it's a bad bitch because it was completely and utterly worth it. I love Las Vegas already. I haven't even dipped my toe in the water because I feel like for me, I'm the type of person to where like my home has to be okay for me to be able to like go out and party and do all the exciting things and be part of the lifestyle. So this past like week and a half that we have lived here has been more of us like making the foundation for us to have fun and be successful. Because like for me, if I'm going to go out, if I'm going to get drunk, if I'm going to even work, if I'm going to have friends, like I need to know that I'm coming back to a safe, mellow space. And if your apartment or your place is in complete shambles, that's when life gets messy. Like it just makes me think of high school. Like, you know, you want to escape your family, so you're going out all the time. And then when you're home, you don't even want to be there. Like I never want to like have that feeling again. So I was like, we need to get this apartment together before I can even live the lifestyle. But I'm hoping that this week an Instagram post will finally be made because I have been thirsty for one. But it has been so utterly awesome. It is bright and sunny. It is like anywhere from very high 50s to 70 degrees. And now that I moved from Washington and since I'm from Texas, I kind of feel like Superwoman because I can handle the cold, but I can also handle the heat. So I'm like, is there anything that I can't handle? But all in all, it has been amazing. There's so many different types of food, different types of people here. Guys, Las Vegas is so diverse. Like, I did not know that so many Black people lived here. Like, I knew that it was diverse and I knew that there were a lot of Latinos. I didn't just never, there was such like a high population of Black people as well. And so that has been really, really exciting for me. I feel comfortable. I feel at home here and I barely even know the girl and I'm already loving her. I feel like when men fall in love with a gorgeous girl that they know nothing really about, but they're like this appearance, chef's kiss, I don't need to know anymore. I don't need to know anymore. Yeah, that's where I'm at. But it's really nice since it's so diverse. There's so many amazing food places and you would think that it was just on the strip, but we live like in the suburbs, you know, and there's still so much here. And let me tell you, Las Vegas is a party the whole time, even outside of the strip. We went to get empanadas and they brought them out with sparklers and a bubble machine. And we're like, whoa. And we're like, we're not even in downtown. So the whole place just feels like a vibe. There's so many places open late. I can finally have Mexican food again. And being from San Antonio, I have a deep love and appreciation for Mexican food. And in Washington, I just wasn't able to scratch that itch. And now I have had it at least 3 times this week, and I am so excited. Anywho, let's rewind to the chaos before the storm because I need to let y'all know that this is not all peachy and not all it's cut out to be. You know what I mean? Because as much as we love a beautiful success, nice story, we also want to know the chaos because we're humans and we're a little fucked up and we like to know the bad parts of everything because it's sometimes more entertaining. Don't fight me for saying that. But rewind, me and Kai made the smart decision, or you could take out smart and just say decision, to move on election day. Now, I did not tell y'all this before because I just didn't want people to know the exact date that I was moving. You know what I mean? I don't trust people. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's just unsafe. I don't know. I'm very skeptical with those sorts of things. But we ended up moving on November 5th, the election day, which was madness in its own. And, you know, we kind of didn't really have a choice because based on the movers coming and when we wanted everything to happen, it just kind of was where the chips landed. But let me paint the picture for you. First, 2 days before that, we get drunk out of our minds at my manager's Halloween party. We are faded the next day. I am hungover. We were in the basement, and you know that 70s show where the weed's circling around and it's like the zoom on everyone? That was the vibe. Now, I'm not complaining because that is one thing I will forever cherish about Washington is just how much weed there is there. And I will always be grateful for that. It's a memory that I will always hold dear. But we ended up being very hungover after that. And then we're like, fuck, we have to get the apartment together for them to come get our stuff. So we spend the whole day cleaning, the whole day putting stuff up. The movers come the next day or the next day and a half. No, it was the next day the movers came after our hangover day. And they come at 7 a.m. And my eyes are bloodshot. I am so tired. If you ever meet me in the morning, I am the type of person that will ruin a 10-year relationship because you woke me up too early in the morning. I am not a morning person. If you've ever worked with me, then you know if I do a morning shift, it's not a good reflection of who I am as a person. It's not me putting my best foot forward. I lose all my social skills, my communications degrees out the window, and I am just an evil little troll. And so they're moving our stuff, and I'm like, fuck, okay, whatever. And then they finally take all our stuff. Keep in mind, our cars have already been gone for 2 days. Our cars were gone that same day of the party. They gone. So we're stuck at the apartment for the next 2 days. Now, they're picking up our stuff, which is all nice and dandy, right? We had to sleep on the floor because we packed the air mattresses in our cars, which are already picked up. So for the next day or two, we sleep on blankets on our carpet. And, I just kept telling myself, this is like the sleepovers you have in high school. Sleeping on the floor, this is what you do in high school. It's not that big of a deal. When Kai first moved into the military barracks, Kai didn't even have pillows or sheets because I showed up the first day they moved in, and we stuffed a pillowcase full of t-shirts to try to lay on it. So I'm like, I know how to slum it. I had a twin bed from the age of 4 to 18. I can do this. But it wasn't just that we were sleeping on the floor. They also took all of our cooking utensils, but we had made it a huge pan of lasagna. So we had lasagna for 3 days straight for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But they didn't leave any plates, and Kai packed away all of our paper plates in the cars. So we are eating lasagna in a plastic Kona ice cup with, the spatula that you use to paint on the wall. That was the only utensil that we had. So we had to ferociously wash it and use it to eat our lasagna. So we had lasagna in a cup served via spatula for 2 to 3 days. Then we wake up and it's finally November 5th and we're like, fuck, we gotta vote. We Uber over there. Our Uber driver runs over the whole curb of our apartment. So we're already shook. We don't have a car, so he drops us off in the middle of the town center we vote, and we have to drop off our Xfinity gear. We're carrying around a Burberry bag because we lost all of our plastic bags. All of our reusable bags are packed away. The only thing left was a Burberry bag that I was trying to sell for $5. So we're carrying it, and Kai the whole time is acting so suspicious and is like, I just don't want people to rob us. I just don't want people to think about what's in it and then try to take it from us. And I'm like, you're definitely from Connecticut because it is 11 a.m. and that Burberry bag has stains on it. And no one, like the white people are jogging, like we're fine. So we drop off the bag. We had Panera, which was a nice change of pace from lasagna. We make it back home and we are trying so hard to cover these holes on the wall. I mean, fuck, like that is the only thing about renting is I like to mount shit. I don't want everything just on top of something. And I don't really like command clears that much. So we are just trying to fill in these holes. We're trying to be handy manny. We're Instacarting paint and paintbrushes for like $30. Like, it is ridiculous. All of the sticky stuff, by the way, don't get floating shelves in your shower. They were stuck on forever. Kai literally had to ice their hand after ripping it off. And I remember on TikTok when those toothbrush dispensers went viral? Yeah, I put one of those on our wall. Never used it. I mean, honestly, I'm so glad that I'm past the phase of like buying shit on Amazon that's viral on TikTok, because half of the shit you don't even actually use. The other half of it, now that it's viral and so many people have it, like I've walked into people's apartments and I'm like, this is an Amazon apartment. Yep, everything's from Amazon. I've made it my duty and mission to only get minimal things from Amazon, but it's not Amazon itself. It's just like the like mainstream stuff on Amazon. You gotta dig deep. You gotta look for the specials. You gotta look for the small businesses selling through there and then get their shit. I've also been a huge home goods TJ Maxx advocate lately. So I feel like that's given us some unique pieces. I have a statue of golden cherries over there. They were on sale. But it's very cute. Anywho, yeah, so I ripped off the whole paint on the wall. So there's just a huge patch of blue. So we're just trying to get this together. We're painting. We were exhausted. We were tired. Now, before this, I had been, as I said, trying to ferociously sell on Marketplace, but there was so much shit that didn't sell. We made like at least $500 in selling. How's that for a businesswoman? I mean, but we still had so much stuff. And so what I like to do is stuff that I don't sell, I just give away for free, right? So I started putting stuff up around our complex, like just with a little sign that said, free, take me, like you can have it, right? So I'm putting them in different places because I wanted to be fair. Like I didn't want to just put them all on our floor or all in our building because like that's not fair to the people across the street. I am for the people, you know? And I'm going up the elevator and the maintenance guy is like, hey, is that you putting up all those little piles of stuff for people to take? And now I know this man. This man is not a nice man. I don't really know him and I don't really know his character, but what I do know is I don't like him because one time he was fixing our sink. I had just worked 7 days in a row. I was exhausted. I was laying in bed. He's getting ready to leave and I'm like, okay, bye. And he goes, by the way, it's a nice day outside. You should get some sunlight. I'm sorry, but any man who tells a girl, get some sunlight in their house, that you're not a friend. You're not a friend. You're an enemy. Like, he basically declared war. Like, ever since he said that a couple months ago, like, every time I would see him, I would just daggers in my eyes, you know? So I'm standing in the elevator next to him. He's like, is that you leaving the piles around? Luckily, I had been watching Pretty Little Liars. So I'm like, what would Allison do? And I go, no, it must be our neighbor. I saw her do it. And he's like, uh-huh. Now, I don't care if he believes me, but here's the thing. There is a sign that says if you leave trash, you can get fined $100. Given the fact that we were filling in holes on our wall, I really I can't risk another $100 gone. So I'm like, okay, fuck you, because I know that you've been watching me. I'll pick up the piles, right? Like, this is why people can't have nice things, because people like him are disrupting us. And now the people who maybe could have used a lamp, an AC, a new pair of shoes for free, sorry bitches, it's going to the dumpster, because some people don't like to see poor people win or middle class win. Like, you're literally doing maintenance. Don't you think that you might want something? You're getting the chance to go to every single building and you're not going to be like, oh my God, let me get my fair pick. No, instead you're going to snitch on me. So guys, if you saw me, I was being Inspector Gadget. I was like following this man. He would go one way, I would go the other way. I'd pick up a pile. I'd run to the dumpster. He'd go one way, I'd pick up the other way. I'd go to the dumpster. Like I was like darting around looking like to make sure he didn't see me. But unfortunately, all of our stuff ended up at the dumpster. I kept the free signs on it, so hopefully someone took it. But I mean, me personally, if I see something cool and free outside of my apartment, I'm taking it. If I see something cool and free at the dumpster, nah, I don't know if I'm going to be taking it. I might not be taking it. So that was really disappointing. We get everything together. I drop off the keys. The lady's like, oh my God, we'll miss y'all so much. I know that she didn't like me, so I don't know why she said that. And then we are having this lady come and pick us up to take us to the airport. And you know what? There are sometimes, and I mean sometimes, I believe at least, that little miracles and little signs happen. Can we all agree on that? Like, I'm sorry, but if you don't believe in small miracles or small signs at least, like, do you know joy? Do you know hope? Do you know optimism? Like, I believe that sometimes things happen that tell you that you're on the right path. So, you see this necklace that I'm wearing, right? I don't own anything like high designer. I think the highest designer I have is like Marc Jacobs. Is like Marc Jacobs, Coach, like, you know, like the lower end of designers. So when I was doing COVID, well, I guess I wasn't doing COVID. We were all doing COVID in 2020. I got into Monet hair marketing, as some of y'all may know. Some people may call it a pyramid scheme. I call it multi-level marketing. Regardless, I made like at least $8,000 in at least 2 months of doing it. And I was only 18. I had a whole team. I was on my computer. I was hosting meetings. I was doing seminars. I was posting content. That's actually how I decided that I kind of enjoyed social media a little bit, was from doing that. Regardless of what it is, it doesn't matter. I made some amazing friends throughout it. And one of the friends was the girl who trained me to do it. And she had this thing to where if you sell so much things, she was going to get you a Louis Vuitton, like whoever sold the most. And I was like, I want this designer thing. Like, I don't have anything designer. I really, really want it. So I am selling my ass off. Like, I'm embarrassed because sometimes I just like think about the people, like how many people I probably DM'd reaching out. But you know what? I was 18. I feel like you just can't hold it against me. And it was 2020. Can we really hold each other against each other for what we did in 2020 to make money? We were all trying new things. So she's having this competition. I sell the most things, and I got to go to Louis Vuitton and pick out something. And what I picked out was this garnet pendant necklace. Now, this necklace has been with, like, it's my favorite necklace. The whole time I worked at Hooters, I wore it. The whole time I worked at Twin Peaks, I wore it. Like, my whole, like, I feel like when you're like 18 going into 19, 20, like you're trying to establish your hot girl era. Like, you're like, I'm not just a teenager, but like I'm trying to really like get in like my hot 20-year-old mentality. You know what I mean? Honestly, I don't feel like I achieved that till like this year. Like, I feel like Vegas is going to be so transformative. Like, I don't think I've reached my potential. I'm not going to lie. I don't think I've peaked yet. Like, I am ready for the Vegas, like, energy, the Vegas vibes, the Vegas looks and stuff to like just really like absorb it. And I am so excited. Like, I feel like I already want to like switch up my makeup routine a little bit. Anyways, so I wore this necklace. I felt like it was my good luck charm. Like, anytime I wore this to a shift, I'd be making bank. Anytime I'd wear this to an interview, I'd get the job. Like, my first week at Twins, I wore this and I made like over $1,500 in like 4 days. Like, I don't know. It just like, it has some sort of good juju. And I don't think that it's the fact that it's from Louis Vuitton. I think it's just the fact that it, to me, symbolizes like, hey, you can get higher than where you were when you started in life. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just like a little symbol of hope that I have. Like, one day I'll hopefully be in the tax bracket to where this necklace is one of many and not the only. I don't know. It just is inspiring to me. And also the fact that that girl was such a cool mentor and such a cool boss that like she could drop a bag on someone that worked for her. Like, I just think that's inspiring. I don't know. It just inspired me for whatever reason. When I first moved to Washington, like, I kid you not, like the first month, Kai had a promotion ceremony in the military. I'm packing up my stuff so I can go because I'm late to everything. I put everything in my purse, including this necklace. I kid you not, I drive over to Kai's ceremony, go through my purse. Every fucking thing is there except this necklace. This necklace is nowhere to be found. It's not there. I'm thinking, well, maybe I lost it in my car or down from my apartment, right? Like it had to be from from when I left my apartment to the car. But I remember it hitting the inside of my Telfar. Like I remember it being in my Telfar. Anyways, me and Kai look everywhere. It's gone. She gone. Now, I kid you not. The lady's picking us up for the airport on the opposite side of our complex, where my car has never been, where we have walked back and forth 20 million times to the dumpster that day. So I've already seen what the ground looks like because it's disgusting. I've already walked back and forth, right? The lady's picking us up. I look at the ground because there's a little step. I see nothing. I look up at her. Kai walks away. I look back down. My necklace is on the fucking floor. I have walked past this exact place where it was hundreds of times living at that apartment. My friends who have stayed with us have seen where that is. No one has ever found a Louis Vuitton necklace. I had just been there back and forth 20 times to throw away those little piles that the maintenance guy was going to snitch at me for. And there was no Louis Vuitton. There was no Louis Vuitton when I first arrived there, but as soon as Kai leaves and I look back down, there's my necklace. Honestly, guys, how ironic is it that I love certain things about Washington? I love the lessons that I learned there. I feel like it was like my catapult into like adulthood and maturity and just like really figuring out myself. Like I feel like when I arrived in Washington and even up until probably maybe a couple months ago, I had no idea who I was. And Washington helped me slowly discover that through a lot of trials, through a lot of errors, and definitely through a lot of tribulations. But how ironic is it that one of the places that I would honestly highlight as kind of one of the, in a way, worst times, or like I don't want to say that it was the worst time of my life, but it was just a really hard time of my life on my own. I've had hard times in Texas. I've had hard times everywhere. But like that was the first time where I was on my own and it was so difficult and I went through so much. How ironic is it that at the beginning of that part of my life, I lost one of my favorite things. And when I'm finally getting ready to leave, I find that favorite thing in a random spot that I have walked by hundreds of times before. You can't tell me that isn't ironic. And like I said, this got me in so many bad bitch times. And so I'm excited to wear it in Vegas. And so I just had to share that with you guys because I was like, I was flabbergasted. I was in the Amex lounge like, what? That was the only good part, was going to the Centurion. Guys, I'm not gonna lie. If Kai was in the military, dang, like I used to be like military benefits and all of that, but guys, let me tell you, if you could find someone in the military, you can go to the Centurion, you could get rent, like that shit's crazy. Like, you know, I have to admit, like as of now, I would say that Kai's military career is paying off more than my degree. And I think about that a lot. Every time I'm applying for a new bartending job, I just kind of think about that and I'm like, maybe I should enlist. No way, no. But it just really symbolized to me that like better things are coming. And so I hope that that happens. I have had so many panic attacks and like stressing out here though. Like just finding a new place is so stressful. Like first, the dishwasher was like the most gross thing I ever looked at. The filter looked like it hadn't been cleaned in a year. The guy before us left his Wi-Fi plugged in, so our Wi-Fi wasn't working for like a week and a half because he like plugged it in a hidden spot in the back of the closet and I couldn't find it. Like, there was a lot of like, I will say, here's what I will say. The apartment looks exactly like the pictures. It is gorgeous. The complex, gorgeous. We have a gym. We have a huge saltwater pool. We have basketball courts. We have an outdoor theater. We have volleyball. Like, we have so many things. The apartment complex is so much nicer than our last one. Like, I love it. I've actually been going to the gym, guys. I've been going to the gym. I've been doing yoga, and I will keep y'all updated on that. But no, like it looked just like how I did in the pictures, but the thing is with apartments is that there's just little things. There's little things that are always wrong with them that you have to look out for. Not to mention, I didn't even know what gas was before we moved here, and we didn't have gas for like the first 3 or 4 days. So we were taking ice cold showers. So like, you'll see why I wasn't able to get too much done. We were like in ice cold showers. They moved all of our stuff up, but everyone, I guess, canceled on the guy who moved with us. So it was just one guy bringing all of our shit back and forth. And so he didn't really put anything together. He only put our bed together and he did it backwards. So we had to completely redo it. So it's just, it's been a learning lesson. It's been a life lesson, but I'm very thankful because I feel like now we're kind of settled and now it's more like we can decorate. We can just get rid of some things soon, and very soon the room over there will be a podcast room and it will be so cute. But I definitely, like, once we get this together, want to do an apartment tour for you guys. Like, I just want to like show y'all like what's up, what's happening. I am on the job hunt. I really I have been manifesting. I want to do the pool auditions in January. Pool auditions are basically this huge thing that they do in Vegas where thousands of girls do it, and you're trying to get a job as a pool bottle service girl at one of the huge world-renowned six-figure day clubs. You know what I mean? Like, these girls make bank, and that's why it's such a big deal. So right now I'm like just applying for jobs to like that I can work right now and make money and get money up until who knows when. But definitely one goal of mine is for like in January to do those auditions. So I've been manifesting. I did find a promo modeling agency, so I'm hoping that like I can do some like different events and like network on the strip and everything, like working for different like companies over there and stuff like that. And then the podcast, of course, obviously. So pray for me, guys. I'm really hoping, but it was really cool because I was looking at my vision board and I mean, it had a graduation cap, it had 2 cameras, it had keys to an apartment, it had a gym. And so I see so many things that like I hoped for come true. And like, even though I would say like overall big picture, like there are obviously some things that I have wanted that haven't came to me yet, like career success and that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? But I'm seeing the effort pay off. And so I just hope that that keeps happening. But I'm really excited to share Vegas with you guys. We haven't gone out yet because we've been so tired. Like this past weekend was our first like full week here and I literally just passed out. I mean, we didn't have a good night, but we had a good night in bed. You know what I mean? We didn't have a good night out on the town, but it was still really fun. But this week, Kai has, I think it's the F1 race. So Kai has like 3 different clubs that we're supposed to go to, like Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. I don't know. There's just a lot that we're going to do. So I will be able to keep you all updated on that. And enough about me. Let's give some more tips to you. Let's jump in to a long-awaited Operation Tease. Woo! You're definitely from Connecticut because it is 11 a.m. and that Burberry bag has stains on it. And no one, like the white people are jogging, like we're fine. Guys, moving has taught me that in the past, I have made it sound like it was the easiest thing in the world. And even though I've done it probably almost 15 times now, I can't say that it gets easier. But what I will say is that moving is an essential part of life for a lot of people. And I still highly advocate and support people who want to move and completely just do a 180 and rebrand and 360 and all the stuff to your entire life. So for this Operation Tease, we are going to do the do's and the don'ts of moving. These are going to be just like little things that this move has reawakened my perspective on and taught me ways that will help you guys so that y'all don't go through what I went through. Should we do the do's or the don'ts first? Or should we do a do and a don't? Do, don't. I think I should just rapid fire and see what comes to my head, right? That's going to be the best way to do it. Okay, so let's see. What's the first do of moving? First do of moving, let's start from the top. Let's start from when should you move? I would say some reasons why you should move, some do's are if you want a change of lifestyle, if you feel completely static where you're at, like if you feel like you're just going through the same redundant routine over and over and over again, move. And if you feel like there's a glass ceiling in your city move. Like, I definitely felt like that in Washington. Like, I was like, I know that, like, to go above this glass, I'm gonna have to be in, like, the tech industry or do something that's, like, not really my passion. So there was a glass ceiling for me. Um, I would say it's okay to move if you wanna get away from people. Like, this is gonna sound fucked up, but I had some friends in Washington that, I mean, we're not friends anymore, but while I was friends with them, I remember thinking about how I could potentially move to Vegas, and I remember thinking, "Oh my god, one of the pros of moving would be that I could get away from them." And I think that's completely fine because sometimes you don't dislike or hate the people around you, but sometimes you're like, I know that being around you isn't good for me in my long-term life anymore. And sometimes the best way to get yourself out of that situation is to move. You know what I mean? I would say a good time to move would be if you hate the weather. I never realized how much weather affects lifestyle. Guys, it is not um superficial, and it is not, what's that word? I guess superficial. It is not superficial to move because you hate the weather. The weather affects everything. Like, every time we tell people here, we were at the dispo in Vegas, and the guy was like, "Oh, so where y'all from?" And we're like, "Oh, Washington." And he's like, "Oh, isn't that where people like kill themselves because of seasonal depression?" And I was like, well, that's a crazy thing to just say while we're in a dispensary and just to say without a trigger warning. But yeah. And so, I mean, the certain types of weather has an effect on people. I have a group of friends that live in Oregon. I talked about them, and they love the gloom. They love the rain. They love it to be a little colder. They love snowboarding. And so Oregon is literally perfect for them because that's their lifestyle. Me and Kai are on the opposite spectrum. We like sunshine. We like to be able to go out and wear shorts and a crop top. You know what I mean? And so being in the heat is better for us. Like, guys, I used to be in bed by like 9, 10 p.m. because I was like, I am already tired. But I noticed that my battery lasts a lot longer while being in Washington. I mean, while being in Vegas. I would say also a great reason to move, like, this isn't like a different state or anything, but just in general is the amenities at your apartment or the amenities that you get from your house. It's perfectly okay to move because of amenity-based things. Um, Going to the gym, I love working out, but I lack motivation at times. And having a gym that I can just walk to is very life-changing and essential for me. I used to think that I could never work out at night, and I realized that it wasn't that I couldn't work out at night. It's because I didn't want to drive. It could be a 1-minute drive. I'm not fucking driving at 9 p.m. to go to the gym. But now being here, I'll just walk and go to the gym for a little bit. I'll walk and go do some yoga. And I think that's a great reason to move. Another great reason to move would be, I mean, you just want a lifestyle change. Maybe the place that you're living at's completely stressing you out, you know? Like, my grandmother, she's in her 60s and she has this huge house and it's just her and it's too hard to take care of. That's a great reason to move. Like, it has nothing to do with age. It just has to do with, like, what can you handle? Like, where you live, whether it be the exact building or just the zip code or the state, is going to have a huge effect on you, you know? Like, also, I think it's okay to move because of the economics in your state, especially, I mean, after what's going on in America, the election, all that stuff. I wouldn't blame people if you wanted to move out of a certain state to maintain your quality of life, you know? Like, when me and Kai were looking for certain places to live, there were states that we absolutely said no to because of the way that their economics or politics were, you know? And so Vegas, even like with its diversity and all that stuff, I think that this is going to be a great place for me. I mean, stay tuned, but I really do feel like that, you know? I think it's also okay to move career-wise. Um, yeah, those are some great reasons to move. Some things that I wouldn't do for moving is I wouldn't pick your apartment without doing a lot of research. Apartments, you need a tour. And even though we picked ours online, we got lucky. And for Las Vegas, since it's such like, I mean, you hear Vegas and you just want to know about it. We found a bunch of YouTubers where people were doing tours and that helped us a lot. And we got to do virtual tours, but definitely don't just move into a place like without knowing anything about it. Don't move into a place without reading your lease. I know a lot of people are just like, oh, it's a lease, whatever. But guys, they put certain numbers in there. And even on our lease, there were a few mismatches on numbers that we had agreed to versus the numbers that were on the lease. So we had to get a second one sent to us. So you always want to double check that. If you work in a tip-based job, I would definitely say one important thing would be if you're going to qualify for an apartment, they ask how much income you make. And if you're a tip-based worker, which I'm sure a lot of you, because this age group a lot is, what you're going to want to do is, I used to have a lot of friends at my serving jobs, Hooters, Twins, the golf course. They get their cash tips, right? And they just spend them. They just throw up the paper because they're like, these are cash tips. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? No, it matters, because sometimes your card tips make you still look poor. They make you still look broke because it's not enough. And a lot of people still nowadays do tip in cash because we don't get taxed on it. And so what I would do is, at all of my jobs that I've done, is every week or every 2 weeks, I do a bulk deposit of my cash tips. The reason why you want to do this is because they may ask you for bank statements, which our apartment did, and those bank statements are going to show that you have a reoccurring deposit, that even though it's not from a payroll, it's you are depositing that. And if you tell them I'm a tip-based worker, the deposits that you see are my cash tips. That's the money I on average bring home. There you go. There you go. That is a pro tip that I think a lot of people need to know and a lot of people talk about, because I've had so many friends be like, I make like almost 6 figures doing my bartending job, but I'm not getting approved for apartments. And I'm like, it's because there's no proof. There's no evidence. You have to do that in advance. You have to take care of your credit score like way before, Oh, also pro tip, a great way to boost your credit score if you have like nada, no credit, no nothing. What I first did, because I didn't have any credit like a couple years ago, buy a mattress. It sounds silly, but I financed my mattress. It was only 1,000 something. It was 1,000 something, and I financed it. And I financed it because that is easy to get approved for. They approved every single person. And it was just to show that you could pay something off. You know what I mean? Some people may be like, well, it's just 1,000. I'm just gonna pay the 1,000 up front. You know what I mean? But take every opportunity that you can to build your credit. That way, if you want to make a life-changing decision like moving, you can do it. Also, if you want to move states, but you think that it's too hard, yeah, we got the movers to do it for this move. But when I moved from Texas to Washington, what I did was I shipped my car. And depending on, and we did that this time too, depending on what the distance is, it can range from a couple hundred to maybe $1,000. But sometimes that can actually be cheaper. So like when I moved from my old place, all my furniture was from IKEA. Like, it wasn't that much value. So I sold it all for almost exactly how much I got it. I sold it all in Marketplace. I rolled up, vacuum sealed my mattress, threw it in my back seat, put all my stuff in my car. There you go. That's my moving vehicle. So like, it's not impossible to do it. I've done it with movers, but I've also done it like just raw dogging. Also, what's another important thing that you should or shouldn't do when you move? I don't think that you should base your move on another person's lifestyle. Like, I know that some people, they're like, my friend wants to move here, so I'll just go with her. I think that you should always decide whether you like it or not. And, I also think that you should anticipate how much space you really need. Like, me and Kai, technically, it's just the two of us. We could get a 1-bedroom, but with how much shit that we have and how much space we each like, a 2-bedroom's essential. So just be realistic. And then also, some warnings, the job hunt's gonna suck. You're gonna have to start all over. I'm literally going through that right now. I just dropped off my resume at one place, so hopefully it goes through. But you are going to have to start over. But that is okay if your head's in the game and your eyes on the prize. And I'm giving this pep talk not just because y'all need to hear it, but because I need to hear it myself. Like, it's okay to start over, and it's also never too late to start over. I think that if you're someone who thinks, oh, I'm 20 something, I'm 30 something, I'm 40 something, it's too late for me, my advice would be to watch Real Housewives and you'll realize that life can change at any age. Or like, I don't know, lately what I've been doing is, even though I love being in my 20s and I feel so at peace with being 22 and it's such a like fun age, you know what I mean? One thing that I've been doing lately is I've kind of like been consuming like content and shows for like 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, because I'm like, you can be hot, sexy, impulsive, life-changing at literally any age. Like, there's a girl on Housewives of Potomac, and I mean, she just gets more beautiful by the second. Like, she's in her 40s now. She started when she was in her 20s, and I see no difference. She's done so many changes. She got a divorce. She did all these new things, And so I just think that a lot of times we put like these gaps on ourselves and we're like, I'm this, so I can't do it. And I think that what you have to do is you really have to take away those like self-doubting beliefs. And even if other people doubt you, even if other people think that you can't do it, you have to have like enough faith in yourself to do it. And sometimes that faith just comes from watching other people. Maybe you don't believe in yourself, maybe you don't think you can do it, but you're like, well, she did it, so I'll try. Like that, then try it. Like, it's just wherever, take it where you can get it, you know what I mean? And that's what I've been doing. So I've been watching a lot of Housewives. And even like there's this podcast, Giggly Squad, which is like both of them are in their 30s and they talk about a lot of 30-year-old problems or whatever. But I still like it because I'm like, when I'm 30, I'm still going to be cool and funny, just like how they're still cool and funny. And so, yeah, I just think that you just can't doubt yourself. And even if you do doubt yourself, you just have to go through the motions, because that's what I'm doing. Like yesterday, I was editing a reel for the podcast, and I just like, since I haven't done it in like 2 weeks, I was just feeling really like weird about it. I felt really like antsy about it. And I was like, you know what? Not everything has to be done out of passion. Sometimes you just have to do stuff because you just have to fucking do it. So I'm just going to go through the motions, and then soon I'll snap back into it like with my full self, which is exactly what happened today, And so my biggest advice would be, what's best for you. And I think that a lot of people know what they want. They know what's best for them, and they just don't do it. Like, they just don't change. They just stay the exact same as they were in high school. They just stay in something unhappy. And so I think it's just all about having the courage to like change something no matter what. But trust me, there's not a lot of stupid reasons to move. But one thing I will say is be careful with how many holes you put in an apartment wall. Definitely. Well, that is all that I have for you guys today. It was so good talking to y'all again. There will be an episode next week and the next week and the next week, because baby, we are home and I am so excited. Be sure to follow the pod on Instagram at Tease Pod, at Tease Podcast, on everything else. Subscribe and watch on YouTube, and be sure to rate, please, and review on Spotify and Apple 5 stars. Feel free to leave a comment as well, and write in your questions, stories, and advice to be on the next Tease Me. I love you guys, and I will see you next week. Bye.